Let's head on over to the top of the hill for some of the top stories around the country. Really, there's just one top story in politics today, and here to talk about it is Niall Stanage, associate editor of The Hill. Good morning, Niall. Happy New Year to you. Let's talk about New Year, new Congress. What do you expect from the swearing in today? There's a whole lot to go with, but I think the biggest thing is McCarthy, whether or not he'll be Speaker, whether or not we'll have a second ballot, which hasn't happened, as Tom Dempsey mentioned, in a long time. So how do you handicap this one?
I think it's a fascinating race or fascinating contest. Happy New Year, first of all, Mitch. Look, there is a real danger that Kevin McCarthy at least doesn't get the votes on the first round here. What we have seen is the tide actually moving against McCarthy. A few weeks ago, there was this perception that, OK, people are expressing opposition, but that opposition will erode and he'll kind of glide into safe harbour. That hasn't happened at all. In fact, the opposition appears to be building to him. So he's in really quite a perilous position.
Well, yeah, and he's made concessions that they can just remove him if they want, and that's not enough. But I kind of wonder, it's not like they're going to elect Andy Biggs, because Andy Biggs doesn't seem to have anywhere close to the support that McCarthy has, even if McCarthy doesn't have enough support. So are we just going to have multiple ballots here where we don't have a Speaker of the House for a while?
It could be a very chaotic situation. You're quite right that the biggest asset Kevin McCarthy has is the lack of a really viable alternative. Andy Biggs is opposing him, but even Biggs's supporters don't expect him to be elected as Speaker. And remember, there is a sizable block of Republican lawmakers who say they will only vote for McCarthy and that they will keep voting for as long as that takes. The big picture here, Mitch, is that that kind of a scenario would really be a pretty terrible start to Republican control of the House. If you're, saying to voters, we're going to take action on issues that matter to you, and instead you just get bogged down in endless Speaker votes, that's not good.
Does McCarthy have support from Democrats to get over 218?
It doesn't appear so. In fact, there is a rather bizarre scenario being floated, which is that if this whole process deadlocked, moderate Republicans and some Democrats might float the idea of Fred Upton, a Republican congressman from Michigan who's retiring. To be Speaker, you don't need to be a serving member of the House, and there's some idea that Upton could end up being a compromise candidate. I personally think the chances of that are slim, but the fact it's been talked about shows where we are.
Wow, Fred Upton, that's a name I had never heard of until you just mentioned it, and he could be Speaker of the House. It's interesting times. Yeah. I can't wait to see what happens. Niall Stanage from The Hill, thank you for joining us. Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation in your cable lineup, and don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-based, unbiased coverage.